All right, I think we are good to start. Once again, welcoming everyone. A very good morning to one and all. It's really great to see all you wonderful audience join us for our Supercharge Your MSP offering with Gen AI Service Automation. This webinar is brought to you by Tech Data along with Microsoft, co-partnered with iFix Tech Global. Myself, Alison Chirangra. I am the program manager for cloud from Tech Data. Today, we have with us our wonderful speaker panel. We have Mr. Subrata Mandal. He's the co-founder of iFix Tech Global, which is a Gen AI powered service automation platform. He will be sharing his wonderful insights, his deep expertise that he has in digital transformation. We also have with us our data and AI champ, as I usually call it, Abhijit Mukherjee from our COE team from Tech Data. Uh, Looking forward to hearing your queries at the end of the session. We will begin our session right now. Over to you, Subrata sir.
Sure, sure. So first of all, Alison, thanks so much and pleasure to be here with a quite good gathering that I could see. In fact, I think this session is being live telecast over 4 to 5 different geographies. So India,
Wow,
Singapore, Middle East, as well as Australia, New Zealand. All right. So I,
that's really
I I could
great.
see quite a lot. A few participants are already there, and we are expecting few more to join. So good morning, good day, and also good afternoon to everyone, whoever is joined. So today, what we are going to do is it's kind of a sharing of our experiences and what is it that the new technology, which is the AI and per se generative AI part technology that can do, to address or accelerate the MSP operations. So let me start with a few of the basics first, the fundamentals. So the way our approach to this discussion would be, we'll be talking about, as per our experience, what are the typical pain points that we have observed the MSPs are facing or going through, and how some of those things can be addressed effectively using the power of new technologies. So that's where we'll bring in some business insights from my aspect. Of course, I represent a company which is iFix Tech Global. So we are a software product company. We have got a solution. It's a platform called Gyani. It's a GenAI powered service automation tool with primary focus on improving operational productivity. So whenever there is a possibility, I'll talk a little bit about that. But primarily, today, the objective would be to talk about some of the business insights, our observations from the market, working with a couple of top tier companies like enterprise, as well as the mid tier companies, as well as some of the MSP companies with whom we had got closely working relationship. And from that experiences, we'll bring in how some of those observations can be mitigated. So Abhijit will pitch in time to time from the technology point of view. So the technology stack and other stuff, that's where Abhijit will bring in a lot of insights. I'll talk about mostly the business observations and how some of these observations can be mitigated using the power of new technology. So one small request to everyone, as and when you go through our discussion, if something comes on your mind, please put it into the chat window. I think, Alison, you can keep it open so that people can put in all those things into their chat window. And towards the end, we are keeping around at least 15 minutes, if not more, or 15 minutes plus Q&A session so that we can talk to you directly. Also would like to hear from you about whatever we have experienced, if you have faced those things or something that we have not discussed or addressed at all. If you can bring in some of those highlights also into the call, that would be really, really great. Would like to make it more and more interactive, so would like to touch upon some of the basic points and then go from there. So let me start. So MSP, managed service providers. So the very, very important pillars to lot of businesses. Some of those could be big, some of those could be mid-tier, but the reliance on managed service providers are really, really high. And I'll tell you why. Because As a company, the managed service providers, what they do is amazing. I mean, one of the key thing that goes like doing more with less. And in the context of managed service provider, I will say it is something like doing more service delivery with the set of key resources that the managed service provider has, bringing and harmonizing the expertise across multiple clients, right? So that's basically the key point. Now, when we talk about that and when we see about the digitalization that has actually surpassed all of us in many ways, in our experience, we have seen the managed service providers today are um, going through, I will not say facing or experiencing, I will say going through some of the items or some of the points which we call as our observations, or we can think of might be the potential pain points which may come or might come in future, or some of them might have been faced already. So here are a few things that what we have seen. First and foremost is when we talk about that doing more service delivery with less people, that means making the business more profitable. How do we ensure that the productivity per service goes up? That means we take the least amount of time doing per job. The second point to that would be definitely how do we ensure that my topmost skilled resource, that is the most expensive resource in the financial terms, their time are effectively utilized, that means economically utilized across the multiple customers and not hung up into one particular case. I think that's basically one of the key things that what we have seen. So always it comes with when there are many companies to be supported with a common pool of resources, the talent shortage and the skill gap is quite frequent that what we have seen. The situation is something like scarcity of expert IT talents and over reliance on some of the senior staffs are quite high. Now that's one of the key things that what we have observed. So question would be therefore, how do we overcome such challenges? So that's basically the key area. So situation like how, so if a senior staff or let's say a mid senior staff takes about 30 minutes or 1 hour to do a particular service delivery, can we reduce it to 10 minutes? How do you do that? So I'll talk about 4 to 5 points, but like to make it a little bit more interactive. So therefore, when I say this is one of the key points that what we have observed, in my view, there are AI-driven solutions. So, for example, in Gyani, we have got a solution called Solution GPT, which is basically working as your SME guide. So, like a physical SME or senior staff you have, it can also work as an SME resource who can guide your mid-senior or the junior staff and provide the context-specific solutions based on the knowledge it has already gathered. All what is needed is the specific MSP can design a knowledge pool which can interact to the resources effectively and frequently in plain and simple language. I think that's the key thing. So therefore, I'd like to just touch upon Avijit, you would you like to bring in some technology dimension to it? So I talked about solution GPT is one of the solutions that we offer. How in general AI or generative AI can facilitate this direction, create multiple SMEs without adding extra human resources kind of thing, and provide a better service. Maybe some thought process from you.
Yes, excellent points, Shivrato, which you made it, and I would totally agree with your notion that it's not only about leveraging AI today, but we see a notion in the market and dynamics of inclusion of more and more use cases and capabilities from automation side. So that brings us to a very good point, that what exactly makes a solution or a technology stack workable, and how that particular technology is evolving. Generative AI is one of those technologies which we have seen, which has got the most shifts, if I would say, in the way how it has been dealt, how it has been progressed, and how it has been matured over the past very recent years. But that's not the only thing. The thing is also about how the generative AI use cases are evolving. So earlier, I would say that the technological landscape was that I need generative AI. So basically, I could have went with understanding that it's a type of artificial intelligence, uh, being part of the ecosystem of what we already know from past, like machine learning, artificial intelligence, generative AI coming within it. So from a phase where the technology was looking at a adoption, to a point that now we are in a phase where we see a lot of emergence in the market. Let's say from different vendors, we see solution innovations are coming, like Microsoft has proposed a lot of co-pilots here, so that helps us improving our productivity on day-to-day tasks. So that makes the applications more and more trustworthy, and much more inclusion of the generative AI. Very recently we see that the things have evolved even further. So now we don't only want the things to be generated, we don't want a simple chat GPT anymore. Now enterprises and organization needs the generative AI to evolve. They needs the things to be more inclusive of what they are facing every day. And that's where the automation piece was coming into picture, where we had technologies earlier, like robotic process automation, intelligent automation, that being evolving into a agents ecosystem. So now we see that more and more agents are coming into picture, which can autonomously converse with you, do your day-to-day task. So now we are seeing that it's not only about your personal experience, it's about your overall organization's landscape of how you are getting utilizing this particular Gen AI stack. And we see the things are keep on changing. We learn about the new stack, and now we get something new every day. Very recently we got protocols. So earlier it was the model, then comes the application, then comes the maturity, and now we are looking at the protocols of handling this. So agents being handled using protocols like A2A, MCP, these are coming into picture. So this gives us a very good landscape and understanding how the things could evolve in the coming few months or few years itself, and which can be very well driven for the organization. So that's the whole landscape which we see right now. And we see a lot of impact being predicted from reporting giants like Gartner, which says that we can have a lot of impact in the business side of the things, how the industry grows, how the models and the use cases can grow from sector to sector. So there is a huge impact and an opportunity which is still untapped, since we are seeing evolution of this particular Gen AI stack. So yeah, Shubhrata, what's next on your mind?
Sure, sure. So let me bring in some practical examples in these lines. What we call is an intelligence on tap. I mean, this word might be known very well, but I'll rephrase it as an expert on tap. So things like, let's say, GPT data models based on any technologies, be it Microsoft or anything else, but let's so it is based on any technology. Whenever any GPT data model is available, need today is to make it very, very specific for my purpose. So it's a purpose built expert uh, artificial agent that is available to the corporates or the MSP today, which can be tapped based on the queries or based on the questions that comes in, and immediately a fantastic expert advice comes in, which the customer can directly use. So some of the problems are can be resolved by customer themselves. in case, let's say it is extended to customer. And to our MSP friends, I will say, when if you are extending it to customer, of course you will be extending it on a commercial basis, right? Because this is where your entire knowledge and powerhouse is available. You are extending it by giving him a scale to use it at any time, at any point of time, and the best possible expert advices are already available here. The second aspect of it is like this expert on tap or SME on tap, this domain specific GPT data model. This will give you, uh, this will ensure that you can leverage your mid-tier resources or junior resources very effectively. So your cost of servicing or cost of operation will come down. Okay. So that's basically one of the very, very important aspects, particularly from the MSP operation point of view. Let me move on to some of the other areas of observations that we have seen. So today, because of the technology and the kind of hype I'll say AI or Gen AI has created, the expectations in the customer's mind has gone up very, very high, because they are, everybody thinks, so if it is AI or Gen AI, it can be done in seconds or minutes. In actual reality, that's not the case. There is a whole lot of preparation goes behind it, right? So on the one hand, there is a high expectation from the end customers. There are tight SLAs, and of course that leads to delivery pressure. So within a tight SLA, things has to move really, really fast. So there is a need for or a demand for a faster and smarter service delivery, which is coming in. So the question then starts about, how do I do it? Do I need to hire a whole lot of experts? Not feasible, because that's going to increase the cost of operation. And then other territorial issues like biasness into services, cultural background of the people, and other things will come in. So how do we tackle that particular aspect? So this is where the new technology, I will say again, it's the AI born technology which has come in, which I will call it an agentic framework to some of the enterprise IT services. So using the agentic framework for enterprise IT services, quite a lot. In fact, in our experience, at least two-thirds of the enterprise IT services work can be automatically delivered as a service with a much better level of consistency and reliance, right? Some examples, if it is going over your head, I will say some example of this is your, for example, we had created an agentic end user computing solution purely focused on all kind of end user services supposed to be delivered through it with a completely non-human based way. This is available through Microsoft Teams as an offering, and so it can be activated through Microsoft Teams, and the entire end user collaboration through it can happen, and almost all majority of the end user services can be delivered through it. Gives you the scale, gives you the higher productivity, reduces the use of your most important senior resources for that. So that's a fantastic benefit from the newest technology, and it is in near instant or instant. So, just to give you a little bit more insight, I don't want to make this discussion too techy, but Abhijit, if you can throw some light about typical use of agentic framework, what are the layers in it and other stuff, so that the user can get an idea about how an agentic framework works in the context of enterprise IT services in a very, very high level without making it too techy.
Sure, Subrata. And yes, I would say that mm, if we see the different landscapes right now in the agent AI framework, this is a, what I can say, a progressive technology field, and a lot of things are already in place. A lot of things are already adapted, and we see a lot of things coming into the picture as well. But when we see it from a landscape, that how typically a vendor is doing or implementing this setup, so it's not going to be one platform or one service which is going into picture. It's going to be more of a landscape. So for example, we look at a landscape where we have a different spectrum of services working together. So cognitive capabilities, Gen AI, agents. When when we create a agentic use case, it's not going to be a single product of use. It's going to be an ecosystem of different services working together. So basically, this gives us much more segregation, that how I would like to do this, how I would like to procure the said options from the different vendor ecosystems which we have. Which brings us to the question: how do you like to leverage the different platforms you have? You have infrastructure options readily available with the scale of computes and graphics available from different vendors like Microsoft, which can allow you to not only choose the right compute for you, it allows you to select graphical scalable infrastructure for your large language model deployment or agentic framework deployment. You can choose from different platform managed options of the different vendors, which allows you to leverage capabilities like machine learning, cognitive intelligence, LLM services. Then you can go one step forward. You want to integrate it with your end-to-end activities, you go ahead and do it with the productivity. So you have the technologies today like Copilot. But that's not all about it. We get the whole stack of the services available from the different vendor ecosystems. Like we have a AI stack here from the Azure ecosystem, which can help you to leverage and create your own use cases first. So creating a baseline use case is always important when you are going with the agent approach. You cannot directly think of the correlating a agent directly into a ecosystem which is very back legacy as compared to what Gen AI or agentic AI frameworks could require. So modernizing your application means including some basic level AI first. So that's the second thing which we have to note, that we need to have some AI practices in place first so that we can actually build upon it to make sense of our agentic framework. But let's talk about the agent itself. How does the vendors or responding to the coming landscape? We have or agents ecosystem with us for a long time now, being a particular technology where most of the things are coming into picture. So definitely now we get a very high level understanding that I am going to create a helper. I am going to create something which is going to talk to my data. It's going to work with one or more tool sets. You have Excel connectors, you have your ERP CRMs working together. You are doing some stuff like, let's say you are updating your CRM, so actions are there, triggers are there. So this is what makes the overall bundle of agents. And basically you need the things to be hosted somewhere. So the hosting platform is going to be cloud, because if you see, out of the three landscape of hybrid, on-prem and cloud, cloud is one of the most progressive ecosystem, which is giving you the enhanced capability for the uttermost utilization. So you start with a simple inclusion of the agent creation, and then you extend it by having more observability and more evaluation on the basically what data you are using to create these agents. So that's how you build the practice of agents, and that's how you can leverage these vendors to actually create your agent practice in your organization. So that's what how we will be talking about. What's next, Shubhrato, in your mind?
Sure, sure. I think that's a good insight. So anyway, we are not suggesting or expecting you to create your own agent and other stuff. These are all time consuming process at times, and that's where we are saying that things are readily available. So for example, products like us can give you a quick readily available solutions on this. So we have worked on almost about quite a lot of areas, and as of today we have got around 1000 plus automation service catalogs available in this area, in the enterprise service area, which can be readily deployed. What Abhijit was trying to say is agentic framework primarily does three things in a very, very layman's language. One is the interaction layer. So understand what user is asking for in a layman's language. User might be asking something in a very, very simple half English or any other language. Then there is a decision layer, decide what to be done, which solution will fix their problems, and an execution layer. So go inside any of your apps and other stuffs, of course, based on the rules of the security team and the compliances, go ahead and fix the issues. So interaction layer, decision layer, and an execution layer. So that's basically makes it a perfect 100% autonomous automation. So I'm calling the word as an autonomous automation. It's making you or the organization giving a full autonomy on some services to be delivered completely non-humanized way. So moving forward, there are two aspects I'll touch upon it. These are although most important and those are not really faced in a direct way. What we have observed is in many cases the fragmentation of the tools, like using multiple tools for providing various kind of enterprise IT services, uh, and the poor visibility of this interfacing bit across the tools, that's becoming a pain point. So disconnected ITSM systems, monitoring systems, and various kind of operational tools. So it reduces the visibility and of course reduces the efficiency of the whole system uh, to the customers, and it creates a lot of blind spots. That's basically one of the aspects. It creates a lot of blind spots. So objective here would be how do we bring in an harmonized system. Now, this is where an interconnected API library really works. An interconnected API library which starts from user interaction onwards to fixing the issue completely. That means it takes care of monitoring aspect, it takes care of deciding what solution to be applied and then go ahead and doing it. That gives you a tremendous boost on the ROI in terms of getting the workflows automated and maximizing the return on investments from some of your existing tools. So you may ask a question, how do we do it? Yeah, shall we need to do it or is there anything readily available? This is a quite simple, straightforward answer. So we have got readily available APIs across the entire landscape, which can connect all the silos and make it a threaded systems so that the workflow runs smooth and leverage your existing tool set to maximize your ROI. Now, this could be possible with any of your existing systems. So our suggestion here is always, if there is an existing investment either in you or with your customers, let's try to leverage and see how much benefit it can give along with the AI and the automation layer which you bring in on top of that. So that's basically one of the aspects. The other aspect is the security, compliance, and responsiveness of the system. I will call it as a responsible AI. So when we are using AI as a system, how to make it trustworthy, responsible at the same time, ensure compliance and security, that's basically going to be a core things. Because as of today, there are growing threats, there are growing regulatory demands coming in all across. So question would come in, of course, when we are using an automated system, how do we take care of that aspects? Before I talk and suggest some of the practical examples, what we have already in this case, I would request Avijit, if you can throw some light on this area, that would be really great.
Sure, Subrato. And again, I would say that you made some of the excellent points when it comes to how the agent ecosystem works and how exactly the thing should be taken care. And yes, definitely responsible AI is important. Why? Because AI has no context what it is generating unless and until you make a backbone practice of a secured layer first, so that you get the right level of secured generation of what you expect as a industry outcome. That being said, it's important for us to also understand the different mitigation layers, or what could be the risk first, I would say. So identifying a risk from what AI you are using can give you a lot of idea. Firstly, it's important for you to be aware that what could go wrong. What are you using is a technology which has tremendous potential, but at the same time there are a lot and lot of risk when it comes to using this technology, because things can go very right or very wrong based on how you structure the utilization and how you plan a roadmap to mature this particular technology. So generative AI in a specific is a technology which has a lot of back issues as well, like generating inaccurate text, disclosure of any personal information, plagiarism, stereotypes, hate generation, what content you are getting generated. So the problem is that this is the technology limitation. And yes, no technology is perfect. You cannot just adopt a technology without having a safety execution framework to support it up. So that's where it's important for you to rely on systems like what we are building with iFix, or what vendors are trying to propose here is a commitment tier of safety, security, and trustworthiness of how you leverage the AI for creating advanced solutions like agentic AI, co-pilots, or let's say use cases for your organization for autonomous AI workloads. So this brings us to a lot of areas as well: cybersec, your information security, your data governance, how your data is getting consolidated, where your data goes, how it is being maintained by the vendors. So that gives you an idea that you need to trust a vendor which can give you certain commitments. So this gives us some idea that okay, this particular ecosystem gives you the inclusion or the access to the service, but at the same time they are also entrusting that whatever you are getting as part of the solution, so that is well guarded with the safety executions and the assessments from the organization or the vendor from where you are getting it. So that's important. That makes your overall solution complete and makes you trustworthy in the use cases and the industry. So that's my viewpoint, Shubhrata, over here.
Right, right. Absolutely. I mean, thanks for the insight. In fact, in a nutshell, what we are saying that, okay, AI can bring you a virtual experts or intelligence on tap. It can give you a fantastic agentic solution to automate majority of your services and give a smooth service delivery. However, there is a need to make the operation compliant, secure, reliable, and traceable. So the aspect that needs to be thought of that along with the automation, we need to take care of having a observability layer, policy enforcement layer, anomaly detection layers. These are the important threads that cannot be ignored, because that's where an AI-driven automation system can make it much more trustworthy. I think that is also a need of the hour, and that's where make the AI-driven system much more responsible, secured, and compliant. Now, having said that, this is one of the aspects. In fact, we have. I'll just give you some of the examples that we have in our case. We have brought in that observability layer. In fact, one of the elements that we have in our solution GPT module is called compliance GPT. So some of the areas of compliance and policy enforcement are well taken care of, and system suggests about how to ensure if there is a deviation or there is a anomaly that is happening, how to ensure that those things are brought back into the actual operational form. So that aspect is very, very important, because when things are happening in an automated way, many things are not noticed, not known. but having a traceability give you a audit view, an audit and compliance view of the whole system, which makes the system much more trustworthy. So having said that, let me touch upon one of the top level items which the CEOs or the CXOs of the MSP organization should be much more interested in, which is the critical pinpoint, which is how do I reduce my operational overhead. So if I am an MSP CXO, one of the key challenge that I will face day to day, how do I reduce my operational overhead? Where does the operational overhead comes from? The operational overheads are typically generated or coming from when you do manual triaging of various cases that is in your hand. When there is a high volume of tickets that you get from your customers, and when the resolution process is slow, that is which these are the things which drain out your resources, make them exhaustive, make them less productive as well. So question remains, how do we take care of this aspect? Now this is where, this is a perfect case where a tool driven approach could be well adopted. A tool driven approach which actually takes care of completely in an automated, for example, manual triaging is no longer a need. When you receive high volume cases or high volume tickets, I can blindly say that at least 30% of the cases could be completely automatically delivered without a single thought. Another 30 to 40% could be with little bit more thoughtful process deployed. But yes, tool driven approach can take care of that. In fact, the third module which we have in our product GANI is called AI powered service management, which brings in at least 30% plus productivity booster as compared to all other traditional tools. And we have seen the turnaround time improvement of the various kind of tickets get reduced drastically, as high as we have seen up to 80% improvement in first level and second level ticket turnaround time. And of course, this has optimized the spend on the manual efforts of the various kind of resources you have. We are concerned about the MSP always runs with a select set of key resources which they want. They call them as their gem of resources, which needs to be available for each and every client. So my typical example would be things like your heart surgeon. So you have got a few select good known heart surgeon, but when you have got plenty of patients, they needs to have lot of facilitator around them so that they can spend the optimum time as needed, not more, not less, because there are risks. If it is more, you are burning out your operational cost. If it is less, you are compromising on the quality and the risk of getting failed. You know, so these are some of the aspects. I think it's a good time. So, Abhijit, any last word that you would like to talk? Otherwise, we can open up for our question and answers.
I would just like to put up my closure points to what you have mentioned over to in today's discussion, and I would say that this is a technology, as I mentioned, it has a tremendous growth and opportunity with it, but at the same time, it needs to be planned. Without a proper planned execution roadmap and a way you can trust a solution, you cannot simply start leveraging it. So with the products like Gani coming into the picture, I would definitely see a lot of potential of utilization of these use cases by reducing the gap of the technology which is available to the usability what it can provide. We what Gani, what I understand is reducing that gap and making it more accessible for the people to leverage it for their organization productivity. So yes, that's pretty much a convenient way, I would say, I would see moving forward to leverage these technologies rather than experimenting with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's really a thoughtful process. So Alison, you can open up the Q&A. I would request people to speak out as well. So I'll just summarize the thought process overall here. So a generative AI powered service automation can give you a couple of things. So as a key takeaway, I'm just summarizing some of this aspect. Um, that generative AI powered service automation can bring you virtual experts, can give you expertise on tap or intelligence on tap, you can effectively and very optimally use your senior resources. So it will bring down your cost of operations, that's for sure. You can use a very focused agentic solution, not a generic agentic framework. So I'll say completely avoid that. You need not do any R&D on somebody's agentic framework. You use a ready to deploy agentic frameworks, cases like agentic solution for end user computing services with the ready-made availability of the automation service catalogs, which you can deploy in, let's say, weeks time maximum, right? Use that to bring in autonomous service delivery to some of your aspect. At least two-thirds of your cases would be easily covered through that. So that also gives you a tremendous scale. At the same time, it will also optimally reduce the cost of your operation. The third dimension that we have covered is there is a need for a traceability and observability layer or a component in it, because on not only your customer, it is also you who needs to monitor whatever service is being delivered automatically. Is it gone right, wrong, or if there is any aberration? Particularly cases like hallucination, false positive, exceptional cases will always be there. So there is a fallback mechanism that needs to be available to ensure that you give a 360-degree service to your customers without any break into it. So those are some of the aspects, and of course, we have said that these technologies have the very high potential to reduce your overall overheads. So that's basically the ultimate point that we have informed you. And in our experiences, we have seen it can give up to 80% automation in resolution of the services, 30 to 50% improvement in the agent productivity. So even the agent's capability can be enhanced. With that, they can do the same work with lesser amount of time. It accelerates the SLAs without any additional hiring. So you can deliver more with less. And of course, the tool has the capability to plug into the existing ecosystems without any addition and without any replacement. So leverage the existing setup that you have. And ultimately, it gives you the scale with intelligence and context specific decision making. So these are some of the key takeaways from the discussion today. I would request Alison to open up the conversation. Let's hear it out from some of the aspects that which we might not have talked at all. So
So,
it will be
Right, right.
interesting to hear it out.
so I think, Shubhrato, one question which is being posted in chat and Q&A as well, was from Ranjan MR, Logility. And his question is very simple one. What is the difference between a chat-based Gen AI chatbot versus agents or AI agents? So that's a simple question coming in. Uh, how do you want me to take it? You want to answer that? So let me know.
Sure. So I just missed out the question. If you can repeat.
Hmm. The question is, what is the difference between chat-based Gen AI chatbot versus a agent, basically? Both the technologies we have. So,
Okay. Okay.
hmm,
So I will start with the basics. A chat just gives you a response. It doesn't do anything more than that. An agent has got, we just discussed, an agent has got three important functions or capability: interactions, which even chat can do; decision making, which your chat cannot do; and an execution capability, which your chat cannot do. So I'll just stop it there. There are examples. I can give you some examples. Like so, typically, if I focus on the enterprise IT domain, if you want to know the IT escalation hierarchy, your chart is good enough. But if you want an software to be installed by an agent, your chart cannot do that, right? So that's basically the clear difference.
or I would say, I can come up with industry example for say, um, what could be the best utilization use case for a chatbot is, let's say, if you are working for with a lot of invoices in your organization, and your customers wants to know the status of the latest invoices, so a chat session can justify that by giving you the accumulated responses in a summarized way, Whereas if the same customer would like to, let's say, update a invoice entry at a later stage, so updation is a task, whereas the earlier thing was more of a query. So when the things could be use case could be limited to just getting information, that's the work of a chatbot. But whereas when we need certain actions to be done on a particular user's behalf, that's what it converts it into an agent, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I think I just said earlier that interaction, decision making, and execution is what an agents, or I will say an agentic solution to it. I'm presuming, Ranjan, when by saying agent, you are not referring to human agents. I'm assuming you are referring to AI agent or GenAI agent, right? So that's
I was
basically the
referring to
understanding.
AI agent.
Yeah, that's great, really. Thank you. So I hope we are able to give you some clarity on that. If there is any
Thank
more
you.
you need on that, happy to answer.
Great, great.
Thank you
I
both.
can see Mr. Chetan Kapadia has raised his hand. Mr. Chetan, you can unmute and in case if there's a question.
Yeah, good morning. I think it was very informative session, and I'm really impressed with the content you have provided. Now, my question is, since you have said it is for the MSP, it is only for the IT related company or it is others also? Because, I'm basically a Zoho specialist providing the solution to all most of the manufacturing units. Now, where we can use it or not? Second is,
Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, second is question. You said there are the three layers. That is the interaction, decision, and the execution. But how about the after the execution? Is there can be a verification whether the whatever the execution is done is a perfect or not. So that layer is also required, or it is understood to be with the execution. This is what I want.
Perfect. Perfect. Fantastic question, sir. And I can sense you are talking from the wealth of experiences that you have. So thank you for that. So let me
Thank you
take
very
it
much.
one by one. First of all, uh, it is not only meant for only IT. See, when we are talking about some tools and technology, we just bring in some specificity where we have seen a huge amount of benefits that tool can give in, but it can be utilized very well into the domain of manufacturing. And let me tell you a live experience which I am just this week only we have started. One of the very big organization, it's a listed organizations within India. They have hired a lot of manufacturing equipments. Primarily, all of these are robotized equipments and given to their operators to use. Quite a lot of them are getting failed very repetitively because of some operational bottlenecks. Now, the system gives a perfect error code, it displays the error code, but they don't have the facility. Once the error code is there, what to do with that error code? What is the resolution of this error code? That is what is not given, you know. So it's a perfect example of putting up a manufacturing GPT solution. I mean, I don't want to go into the detail because it's a confidential information, but essentially, it can collect all the data from the manufacturers about the cases of various error codes and what's the remedies, add to the experiences from the operators and the maintenance team, and come out with a ready-made list of set of activities that needs to be done when a particular error code is there, and give it on a fingertips to the operator so that the production downtime is minimized. I'm just giving you a very, very simple examples, but yes, it can be extended to other domain as well. So that's basically the first answer to the first questions. We have seen it also got extended to BFSI domain. I mean, I gave you the example already. The compliance GPT solution along with execution capability, what they do is not only checks the compliance regulatory requirement, they also generate compliance metrics. So how will they generate compliance metrics unless it goes into the various kind of operational system and measure the actual outcomes against the compliance mandated outcome that is required. You know, they just come out with the various kind of compliance metrics. So this is again, it goes into domain other than IT where it works it out. I'll give you a third case which is related to a civil aviation industry where the company hires a lot of, uh, I will say, low skilled resources across various countries, maybe 16, 17 different countries, where many times they work on ships and other stuff. For them, knowing about various kind of HR policies or country specific things for them is very, very important. And many times they don't have access to their HR manager at times. So and there are about 13 to 15 different languages on which this has to be delivered. So how do we do it? This is where you're a virtual expert or a solution GPT solution coupled up by an agentic AI solution. So for example, somebody will say, I am not feeling well today, what shall I do, right? An agentic AI solution suggests possibly you can take a leave. I have checked, you have got 10 leave balance, you can take one. Can I apply for a leave for you? See, a response like this makes people much more happier because they understand you are talking about his mind. You are not just becoming a very, very standard robotized answer kind of thing. So these are a couple of examples. I can go on talking, and if you want, Mr. Chetan, we can have a separate dialogue on this. We can set up a call to discuss much. Let me come back to your other points, which is the validation layer. Absolutely. We talked about a traceability and observability layer towards our, if you see, there are 5 dimensions we talked about it. One is a intelligence on tap versus virtual expert, that is one. The second one is your ready-made agentic solution. Third one is your various kind of service catalogs and other things. Fourth one is traceability and observability layer, and fifth one, reducing the operational overhead. So traceability and observability layer is where you will actually validate what is being delivered is correct or not. In fact, there are cases where I have myself worked on personally. For some clients, they said, okay, even if the service is delivered, I want to build a layer to validate if the service is delivered rightly or not. So they want to put in some kind of testing and validation mechanism, whether whatever service has been delivered has correct or not. So I'll give an example. Let me not make it theoretical. One of the very large organizations into manufacturing and construction, they want to automate their email ID creation process. So for them, the volume is like more than 200 email ID requests comes in a week. Okay, and they are 24/7 Monday to Sunday operations. So some parts of their organization is always working across the globe. They are into 35 plus countries, right? So in this scenario, when they have used an automated email ID creation, they wanted to test it out whether it is really working or not by sending some test email initially and put that as part of the testing results, as part of the traceability and observability process, that this has been delivered with this result. So that later on, see, things will be audited sooner or later, even after 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, things will be audited on a sample basis. I have seen cases where things are getting audited even after 16 years. In fact, in some of the resources, mine, mineral and resources industries, there is a need to keep the data for up to 20 years. And I have faced one such case where things have come up after 16 years. So there would be a case for audit will come in, and at that point of time, it will be very difficult unless you have a systematic process in place, right? So I'll stop in there. Probably if you want to share any of your insights, Mr. Chetan, that would be really great. I hope I was able to bring in
No,
some highlights into that.
absolutely. I would like to have that, detailed case study of all three, because in all three segment I am working, and we can discuss this one to one. I'm sorry, I will have to leave because I have got another appointment at 12 o'clock. But I think, thank you very much. I replied to my question.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
thank you.
pleasure,
Thank you,
and
sir.
we'll set up a call with you separately.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much for
Okay,
attending. It was a pleasure for
yes,
us.
yeah. Thank you very much.
We had a few follow-up questions, sir, from Ranjan, sir. So basically, okay, let me read it out for you. I think I've given a high level answer, but you can just give a short one. So he's asking, what is the cost of providing a simple chatbot to clients? Infra cost plus large language model plus etc. To build a solution. And then there is a second part to this question. How will you price these GenAI solutions to the client? Is it based on each query the chatbot slash agent solves? So
Good question, very good question. And this is where, Mr. Ranjan, I need a separate time from you. So first of all,
yes.
we have cracked these games. And that's why I'm so confident. Unless these games are cracked, I cannot come out with a product for providing services, completely automated service on this. Don't want to mention any price figure here, but yes, you will be amazing to see that these are not expensive figures and these are very much affordable. At the same time, they do miracle. So if you are really interested to know the numbers, my request would be, let's have a separate call where I can bring you all the numbers, all the dimensions, what are the levers that we use, so that
Thank you so much.
everything
Yeah.
is working with a business sense. Yes, we can do
Yep.
that.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Sir, Sumit Channa sir has also shown interest in the same three use cases which you earlier mentioned, and he would also like to have a separate one-to-one session.
Sure. So what we'll do is, Ajay, this is to everyone. First of all, thanks for the patient hearing that you had given to us. We are extremely thankful. We are doing a video of this. The edited video will be sent to you all with a mail personally from my side. And that will also have a request for an one-to-one conversation if you want to have. So we can use that opportunity to have a separate dedicated call to understand your specific context, specific requirement, and we can share some of the referenceable customers we have and some of the very big names that we have who are using this kind of solutions, and really companies are moving ahead fast on this. So let's do that. So this will be upcoming from our side. Let's utilize those scenarios, let's utilize those opportunities to take it forward. So if there is no other questions, I think let's conclude today here. And on behalf of iFix Tech Global, I thank everyone who have given their time to understand the things. There are many more things can be done using this kind of advanced technologies with an affordable price. And of course, we can talk more and more on that in separate context specific meetings. And thank Microsoft as well as the Tech Data team to set up the whole thing. I also thank our PR team to talk about these things into the market and invite people for this interesting session. So thank you all so much from our side.
Thank you
Nice,
very
nice.
much, sir.
Thanks a lot, Subhadra sir, as well. It was, as usual, wonderful hosting with you and your iFix team. Another webinar for a lovely audience. As usual, we are already seeing great response, and in the days to come, while your team, all of us together, we connect with them, I'm sure the way we have explored how AI is reshaping the MSP landscape, we've discovered many real-world examples of AI-driven IT innovation, IT transformation, and I'm sure everyone has learned something, and we'll all be able to work in synergy in the days to come. So a big thanks to iFix team, Microsoft. Thank you so much, Abhijit. And it goes without saying, all the wonderful people who have joined from the different parts of the world. Thank you so much. We look forward to staying connected with each one of you. We would have loved to spend more time on Q&A, but be rest assured we are there. Feel free to connect with us. We'll have all your queries answered. So thanks again. With that, I'd like to conclude the session. Thank you to the Rareview team also, the agency who would have reached out to you for helping us bring this together. So that's it from our end. Hope you have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you all.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.